Alright, so let's talk about the world of Hans Christian Andersen. So, first of all, this is very similar in nature to the Rankin Bass film made just a few years prior, because both stories are about young Hans Christian Andersen, getting you know, the inspiration to all his stories and stuff. Um, so, and there were aspects to this movie that kind of reminded me of Rankin Bass, like their 2D animations. I know Toei helped them with that stupid Mother Goose movie that I recently reviewed. Uh, I wonder if they had, like, I don't know a whole lot about these companies, but Toei might have had a hand in like a lot of the 2D Rankin Bass movies or cartoons in general. Anyway, that's beside the point. Let's talk about the movie. So, it focuses on this young Hans Christian Andersen who he wants to go to this opera, but he can't afford a ticket because he's poor. Um, and his so he's the son of a shoemaker, and the shoemaker is like the only selfless shoemaker in town because all the other shoemakers or cobblers, I guess. Um, yeah, they're too busy trying to make red shoes for this contest for where the mayor's daughter picks a pair, and um, yeah, the winner gets this prize money from the mayor. Or actually, I think it's like the governor. Um, she's still the mayor's daughter, but yeah, there's this governor there too. Um, but yes, since Hans' dad is the only one who's willing to help out this mysterious man who's secretly the Sandman with his shoes, he rewards him with this red fabric, and there's something enchanted with it, and the guy makes this really pretty pair of shoes. Um, but the mayor essentially rigs the contest when he finds out that they made the shoes that end up winning, and yeah, so they don't get the money. And meanwhile, there are these like super poor neighbors who, yeah, they're being pushed around by the mayor's daughter, and yeah, I'm trying to remember all the little details. They, yeah, they get kicked out of their house because they can't pay the mortgage anymore. Um, and yeah, the little girl's grandma gets sick. Um, so she has to sell matches to try and make some money. Um, and she gets all cold. Um, Meanwhile, the boy tries to get a job. He makes a little bit of money, and after after taking a few jobs that turn out badly, he still makes enough money to go to the opera. So he heads over there, but then along the way he happens across the young girl, and yeah, he decides to give the money to her to buy some matches. Um, And yeah, meanwhile at the opera, the mayor's daughter has the red shoes on, and they come to life, and you know, she's dancing against her will, and she's dancing all over the neighborhood, and the shoes send her flying all over the place, and there's a blizzard, and yeah. Um, but yeah, I think she like prays to this church, and then you know, uh, basically she's saved. Then Hans ends up telling this story to this kid inspired by recent events. It's the story of the little match girl. Um, and, by the time he's done, the whole town is listening to his story and they applaud him. And then the governor takes him under his wing. And, I guess it's all uphill from there. Um, so yeah, that's the basic story. So I heard a few people pan the movie. I I think it's got some pretty mixed reviews overall. I don't know. I guess some people consider there's too many slow moments, and some of the um, HCA stories are kind of glossed over. Um, you know, the ugly duckling makes like a very brief appearance. There's like a very brief scene with Thumbelina, etc. Um, so yeah, that's one thing I might hand over to the Rankin Bass Daydreamer movie. Um, this one is mostly just focused on the stories, the little match girl and the red shoes. Those are the two that they choose to focus on, and they at least find interesting ways to kind of incorporate those two stories into this movie, and I do think there's a few compelling little moments, like you do feel bad for like the little girl, her grandma, her cat. Um, and and you kind of root for the main hero. You want to see him succeed. You want to see him go to the opera. Um, he's, but you also want to see him help out the girl and her grandma. Um, um, he's also he's also kind of an interesting little protagonist. He's kind of quirky. You see him play with puppets. I mean, it's not like a complex character or anything, but you learn a couple things about him, and you learn about all of his little inspirations, how he basically created the Sandman character. Um, and yeah, his passion for storytelling. I think it's a nice little character. Not great, but I like his character. Um, and then Sandman character, I forget his name, Mr. O something. Um, I thought he was fairly well performed. Um, I guess he's likable enough. I don't have a whole lot to say about the characters in general. As usual, since it's a Toei movie, there's little animal sidekicks. Like there's a stray cat who helps him out. There's this family of mice, or I guess it's just a gang of mice or something. I don't know. But yeah, Um, the mayor's daughter is basically played up as the villain of the movie, and after Hans, or after everything, what's the word, resolves itself. She, for most of the movie, she kind of has like this very evil face, but then at the end, it like magically turns into this more pleasant face. Um, so yeah, basically, she's played up as the villain, and yes, she's pretty horrible, but yeah, I'd say the most evil character in the movie is her dad. He's pretty cruel, and I think he gets away with a little too much. They should have given him a bit more of a comeuppance by the end. Um, um, the animation was pretty cheap. Again, it did kind of feel like a Rankin Bass movie. The songs might have felt a little Rankin Bassy. Um, I mean, I don't know if Rankin Bass might have had anything to do with this movie, but yeah, there were some slow parts, but I honestly didn't mind them. Um, yeah, I think it was. Hold on. I think the story was just compelling enough that I was willing to sit through all those moments. Um, and you root for the hero. There's some nice character moments here and there, but yeah, the highlight of the movie is undoubtedly the telling of the little match girl. That one had some really nice animation. It was very emotional, sad. Um, it's not the only animated version of the story, mind you. It's there's also a much newer Disney animated short that I have seen not too long ago, and that is also sad. Um, and that one is much better animated, but I do think this movie's version of the story's pretty much on par with that. Maybe not quite as great, but it is a very nice telling. I do really like the animation and yeah, it's sad. Thankfully, the events happen that are actually happening in the movie that inspire that story don't turn out quite so bittersweet at the end. The girl doesn't die, neither does her grandma. Um, but yeah, that's definitely the best part of the movie. And I think it makes the overall film worth checking out. Um, I definitely can't guarantee that you'll like it, but me personally, I do like it. I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was very nice, and it had the right kinds of emotions at the right times, and it was pleasant. So yeah, I'd recommend this movie. I'm not sure if you'll like it, but I'd say give it a go. So yeah, I give this a 7 out of 10, and yeah, if there's anything else I need to add, I'll put it in the comments. So that'll be all. Mash it and smash it signing off.